All right, Mark here, Cooking Books. Just want to talk to you real quick about fasting. Not in its traditional sense where you abstain from eating food, you abstain from food for a certain amount of time, but a sexual fast, right? I believe it was Mike Tyson in his prime. He fasted for sexual fast for 5 years, and in his prime, and we see the result or how that transpired his career, how it transferred and transpired in his career. The reason for that is this, right? A lot of people who have achieved greatness in life understand the importance of sexual transmutation, which in essence is what he was practicing at the time in his boxing career. Because there's two main drives within every human being, and that is hunger, which is number one. And you can facetiously argue that it's number two, right? You can make a joke about it, depending on the person. Number one is the hunger drive. It's the most powerful drive known to mankind, hunger. You know, your natural biological desire to eat, right? Must be satisfied, must be met. It's a drive, the ultimate drive. Then there's number two, which is the sex drive. Now, that's why I said you can make a joke about it, because some people would say sex is more important than eating, right? Facetiously, right? This is being, we know reality, you know, hunger drive is number one. You have to eat, must eat. You can go longer without sex than you can without food. Again, depending on who you're talking to, people can be, you know, jokingly saying, no, it's the other way around. But, you know, all things considered, in a more serious, back to a more serious note, your sex drive is a very powerful drive. And when you can harness that energy, the sexual energy, you harness it and transmute that energy, transmute meaning to convert it, to change it, to use, to put it to use for something more noble, and use it in a higher, more prestigious way. So for instance, you might deprive yourself of sex if you're working on fulfilling some kind of, you know, legacy, something you want to leave behind. You're writing a book, you're composing a book, you're composing you're putting together some kind of project, right? Whatever that project may be, something that is, you know, of great size, something very daunting. Transmuting that energy, that sexual energy, will give you the life force, the animated life force, the vigorous life force, the rigorous life force, to be able to lift whatever that challenge of the task, of the desire, of the ambition that you're working on. That energy to get out of bed at 4:30 in the morning, 5 a.m. and jog and meditate. You know, this power, this energy, you know, that you're going to harness from sexual transmutation is the energy that allows you to ward off and to fight off any kind of mental illnesses, right? Any kind of mental pathologies. Right? Mental pathology just means mind disease. Mind disease can come in the form of anxiety. Mind disease can come in the form of depression. Depression is a mental mind pathology. It is it's a disease that affects the mind and cascades and carries over into all areas of your life, destroying everything and consuming everything like a fire in your life. Depression, overly anxious, worrisome, stress levels, you know, high stress levels, mental stress levels. Sexual transmutation will help you fight all of these mental attacks on our psyche, on our minds. Mental health, I did a research on it. I wrote some papers on it. I don't have all the numbers with me right now, forgive me, but I've done extensive research on mental health, and it is something that is very prevalent in our communities, especially communities of scarce means, right? Very scarce and frugal means, in saying that in a very nice way. So understand, and when I say, you know, abstaining from sex and fasting from sex, I mean in all its various forms. I'm not going to let you guys, you know, anyone slip through the cracks on me here. I'm talking about strict discipline, rigorous, vigorous, you know, exactions upon yourself. You require the best of yourself. That means no pornography. You can't watch porn, right? You can't jerk off, right? Like I said, I'm not giving you no room, no cracks to slip through. You're not slipping through the cracks. I'm talking very militant. You have to have a very militant mindset. No pornography, no beating off, no jerking off your palm, no self-satisfaction. Look, you can't even fantasize about sex during sex fast. During sex fast, you can't even fantasize about it in your mind. You have to keep your mind completely purged, completely cleansed of all sexual manifestations, sexual projections in your mind. You have to completely eradicate. It's tough. It's not easy, but it can be done. And it's a training like anything else. It's a practice. It's a discipline. But what I want to say to you is that should you be able to conquer your sexual energies and harness them and channel them into, again, a project. You're writing a book, you're writing a screenplay, you're putting together a show, a Broadway show, something, anything you're doing that is really bigger than yourself. You want to be able to control that energy, channel that energy, and that energy, because it is the number one or number two, again, depending on who you're talking to, because it's such a powerful drive. All of the challenges, all of the difficulties that, your projects or whatever you're working on, your goals are going to require of you, you will find the strength, the mental, it's called the intestinal fortitude, right? You will find the intestinal fortitude to be able to not just confront the challenges, but overcome the challenges on a repetitive basis. Where others fail and get discouraged, rather than discouraged, you become heartened. You are emboldened. You are encouraged. You are given the vitality, right? The life force. And again, like I said, folks, you got to understand, sex is a basic natural bodily function like everything else. We don't discourage it. It has its benefits as well, right? But life is hard. Let's not kid ourselves. I'm talking to you like a real man. Life is tough as a mother. If you're a grown man and life ain't tough on you, it's one of two things. You were born with a tablespoon in your mouth, so you come from a rich family. So you have, you're a trust fund baby. Or number two, you're not living. You understand what I'm saying? You're not out there in the battlefield. You're not living. You're subsiding. You're surviving. Better word, not subsiding. You're surviving, but you're not living. You're not out there battling, right? If you're out there battling, you're going to have scars. You're going to have wounds. If you're not on the battlefield, then then to you, the battle is not hot. You're in a lukewarm kind of a battle. You're not in the front lines on the heavy fire. But so because of the heavy fire that we're bound to face when we get out there on life's battlefield, you got to understand that the energy that you're going to need can be obtained and gained from sexual transmutation, which is, again, conserving your sexual energies and redirecting those sexual energies into something of a more nobler or higher cause. If you want to know more about it, study The Alchemist, right? Not the book The Alchemist by Paulo. I forgot the guy's name. Hold on, I got the book right here. It's one of my it's in my my library here, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. Now, I like this book, but when I talk about alchemists, I'm not talking about this book, The Alchemist. I'm talking about the actual practice, the alchemical practice, which is an ancient practice of transmuting base metals into higher metals, right? More nobler metals. So you alchemize yourself, take yourself from a base self to a more nobler, higher self by transmuting or alchemizing your sexual energy. So you alchemize your sexual energies. And if you want to know more about alchemizing, study, research, look up the word alchemist. And it will lead you probably to the periodic table, where you'll learn about the elements, noble gases, and the 118 elements found in the universe that constructs the universe. And once you start to understand the concept of alchemy, you can take your sexual energies from a lower state. Lower state simply means its natural cause, its natural function, which is to copulate, right? Which is to have sex with your girl and make a baby, you know, which is a great thing. Again, we're not saying it's not a great thing, but you can alchemize that. You could take that from just its pure natural function and use it in a supernatural way to alchemize yourself. And again, all of the challenges that life throws at you, you will be able to cope with, handle, deal with more effectively and efficiently. It's all about efficiency. You will be able to efficiently, effectively deal with things that will break others. Right? If you suffer depression, doctors will give you what's called SSRI, which is selective serotonin reuptake, right? Rather than getting some kind of medication for depression, anxiety, for any kind of psychological, like I said, the pathologies, having that energy will allow you to be able to meditate, right? It will allow you to be able to still your mind. Because of the busyness of life, a lot of us don't know how to still our minds. It is very difficult to still your mind when you are wired, right? You're programmed to kind of be always going. All of us, we're in a rat race. New Yorkers, that's what we do. You ever notice you go out of state, you go to like, you know, more conservative states, people walk slow. People drive slow. I go to Florida, Georgia all the time, and I'm so impatient down there because I've been programmed to be so fast paced. I've been on Wall Street for 14 years. I work in a very high pressured sales, high intense environment, very tense environment. So naturally my synaptic network of my brain is wired to be always going, very fast paced. So when you learn to abstain from and transmute your sexual energies, you can take that energy to learn to slow your mind down, slow yourself down. Because all that fast pace is what burns us out. It's what, again, gives us depression, anxiety, and all other kind of illnesses. So, you know, taking some time from sex, not engaging in any form of sexual activities, and just learning to harness that energy, transmute that energy. It's in this video, particularly this particular video is only for those of us who really want to get the best out of ourselves. Like, I have the cell phone right here and I use it to make phone calls, and that's pretty much it. And I make a video here and there. I trade my stocks a little bit, and that's it. But this cell phone, it's a Samsung Galaxy. It's like one of the new phones. It has so many features, right? I was told that I can use it for my Universal TV, Netflix. There's so many features on this phone, so many things I can download. There's so many things I can do, but I'm not a techie, right? I'm not like a tech guy who's really into that. That's not my thing, right? It's not my shtick. But there's so many features. So I don't get the best out of my cell phone. I don't. I get the basic. That's what I get. I get I make a phone call. I receive a phone call. I send a text. I get a text. I get the basic stuff that this phone can offer me today. Today's 2020 phone, right? I say that to say this. Most of us are getting the bare minimum out of ourselves, right? There is so much. There's a process called fracking, right? You know, you talk to the oil gurus, the big oil guys, oil companies. They frack and search for oil. It's a technique of putting fluid into the ground, using pressure to push oil up, whatever. There's so much oil reserves in each and every one of us. The soil, the fallow grounds of our being has not been fracked, right? We have not fracked ourselves. We have not excavated, right, the rich oils that is laying dormant in ourselves. We have not mined, right? We have not mined our gold mine, our diamond mine. We have not mined and dug and dig for gold and dig for the diamonds. That's all within us, just laying there dormant. And so this video is for those of us who would want to dig out more of ourselves than we already, bring the best, better, superlative version of ourselves. Because like I said, I only get so much out of the cell phone. If you really want to get use all your amenities, all your features, your traits. You got to dig deeper within yourself. And one method is to practice sexual transmutation and couple that with meditation. Meditation while practicing sexual transmutation, it is a discipline. Okay, it is not for the faint of heart. It is for those of us, again, if you're complacent with who you are and where you are, turn this video off, move on to the next. But if you're not and you want to continue to evolve, activate more of your prefrontal cortex as opposed to the midbrain, which is the amygdala. If you want to use more of your neocortex, right? You want to use more of the left analytical brain as opposed to the right, which is more emotional, then this video is for you. These techniques are for you. Definitely strive to bring the best oil, diamond, gold out of yourself. And look, one more thing. This is not for the guys who just can't get girls so they don't have sex. That's not what we're talking about. Right? If you can't get girls because you have no conversation whatsoever and you just have no swag, that's not what we're talking about, right? We're talking about a guy who's a viable candidate for the toon. You're a viable candidate for the poom. Viable, meaning you have access, you have opportunity, it's in your face, they're throwing it at you, and you tell yourself no. We're not saying you don't have sex because you're in prison. You don't have no woman around. You can't get a woman. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about self-inflicted, self-regulated denial, right? Not denial by default. Well, I'm not having sex because I ain't got no girl and I can't get no girl. I don't know how to get a girl. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about having the cake in front of you, having all the trimmings, the works, you know what I'm saying? And still saying, you know what, I'm going to pass this up. I'm going to pass. Someone offers you a nice chocolate cake with cherries and all the works and the toppings. And you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. That's what we're talking about. There's a certain power that you are releasing. Again, you can go, you're on YouTube, check out Mike Tyson, Sexual Fast, while he was in the prime of his career. I believe he did 5 years. And now I need not say anything. We all know the illustrious career of that man, right? His career is in my opinion, second to none, right? Again, they called him the baddest man on the planet at one point. And that was the manifestation of what he did in terms of denying himself sex for 5 years, right? That was the outcome. That was the physical show and expression of what was being done on a spiritual, psychological, self-denial level, right? So again, it's a lot of upside. There's no downside to denying yourself. This is just straight upside. There's a tremendous amount of upside. Self-control, mind control, like I said, drive, energy, effectiveness, just an overall productive human being, much more productive person. All right. Until next time, if you like the video, you know what to do. Hit like, share, leave a comment. Peace.